Yo, what is going on, guys? Miguel here. So today we're coming at you with a video on how to make six figures your first year as a real estate agent. So if you guys haven't been here before, of course, my name is Miguel. I'm a realtor that's based out in London, Ontario, Canada. So I am a Canadian realtor. I've been licensed ever since the market took a shift here back in 2022. And it's been very well for me, right? And as a matter of fact, I did make just right around six figures my first 12 months as a realtor. In terms of like all total sales, like with that were under contract, closed and firm pending sales, I did about 113,000 GCI. It was like 113,000 GCI. I ended up closing out, I think 93 or 94,000. Sorry, it was 96, just over $96,000, something like that. Again, I can't really remember, but it's all really increased over the years. To give you an example, 2024 was my second full calendar year in real estate. In firm pending sales as well as closed, I made over $400,000 in GCI. So it was definitely a really good year for me. And I'm here to tell you exactly what I did, because I did not start out with someone to give me a leeway, like any head start. I didn't join a team. I am a solo-based realtor that has built everything from the ground up. I have no business background. I literally came out of the trades, went right into sales with no sales background, nothing. I have no business bloodline. I started everything from the ground up, and I'm in the middle of building a team, and I'm here to build a bloodline for my name to be really a heritage name in the real estate game. So I am here to tell you exactly what I did. There is no BSing anything. I'm just in between appointments here, and I thought I'd just take a minute to share this with you guys, right? So I'm gonna break this down, or kind of just go off the cuff, because really that's what most of my videos are. If you guys have never been here before, I just go off the cuff. I just tell you the straight facts, and I just tell you exactly how it is, right? So let's start with number one. So number one is gonna be, you have to eliminate all these distractions and really just have a clear path. What do I mean by that? Well, there's a lot of problems with shiny object syndrome, right? Because there's so many, especially these days, there's so many different avenues you can go down. You can get leads through social media. You can literally just do videos and expect to get good results, which, don't get me wrong, they all work. You just got to be consistent, and we'll get to consistency in a bit, but you just have to have a real good blueprint that is proven to work. Keep in mind, the number one thing I just mentioned there is proven, okay? So you have to find a proven blueprint where it's actually worked for someone and stick to it, right? So if you're like me, I'll give you an example. So I have built my whole business around door knocking, right? Here in Canada, I can't go around and just call expired listings. For sale by owners, sure, they're a thing, but I'll be honest here, like, there's not a lot of for sale by owners. There kind of is, like on Kijiji, and I work them a little bit, and honestly, for sale by owners they're the worst clients here. They're just really out of whack and just really weird people, let's be honest. I've had three, and they're just terrible clients. Anyways, going off track, you have to have something that's proven and that you know is going to work for you, right? So for me, I just worked around door knocking, right? So in terms of door knocking, what did I do? So I forgot to turn my phone off, do not disturb. It's okay. So if you see me kind of pausing a bit, it's because I'm just seeing text notifications coming up. But in terms of door knocking, so I had a firm belief, and I had followed people like Brian Casella and stuff where I knew it worked for them. And I actually had a passion to go out and knock on doors and perfect my sales skills. So number one, I knew I was going to like door knocking. Okay. Now, most people maybe don't like doing the actions, but for me, I just straight up knew I was going to like door knocking, right? Just going out there, being outside all day, right? I came from a factory job, so I knew I was going to like door knocking because I'm outside all day, right? I'm so exposed in sunlight. So by doing that, number one, I knew I was going to like it. So that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to stick to it. Number two, I got to have a game plan. How many people do I have to talk to, and how do I go about it, right? What things do I need to say? How do I say it, and how do I deliver it, and ultimately turn that into a result or an effective client? So I knew that by door knocking, my results weren't going to come in immediately. Yes, you really want immediate business right away, and I'll tell you how to get that really soon. But for me, I had the firm belief, and this is the biggest thing you guys need to know. Number one is just have a firm belief that's going to work and stick to it, right? You got to know that that's what you're going to do. I knew I was going to door knock, and I had a full belief, even when I knew I didn't have a deal from it yet. It took me 4 to 5 months to get my first listing from door knocking, right? I just had to go literally for 4 to 6 hours on minimum a day. Sometimes I would go out for 7 or 8, right? Because I have nothing else to do. The main thing of the game is, number one, stick to it, but also make sure you're talking to enough people, right? Which goes into my next point. So obviously, number one is going to be stick to what you know is going to work and follow that proven blueprint and have a firm belief in it. Number two, talk to as many people as you can. There's a big rule of thumb when it comes to the business world in general and sales. but more so business, if no one knows who you are, they're not going to do business with you, right? Who do you think the top realtor is in your city? Or who do you think the top person is for any sort of sales is in your city? If whatever thing you're in. Okay, just think about it for a sec. How do people get in touch with them? Well, you go door knocking, for example, and like you're usually going to run into someone who knows them, which means a lot of these people are just getting phone calls from them because they're known as a top realtor in town. Well, don't worry about getting your logo and brand all sorted. Go out there and actually knock on doors and talk to 40 to 50 people a day. Like, I'm not joking. If you have nothing else to do, you got to be talking to at least 40 to 50 people a day. Then when you start getting busier, control that to about 25 conversations a day, right? I myself, I'm on track to do around 84 deals this year. I'm still getting in 25 conversations every working day, right? Don't get me wrong. Even on a day like today, I still got a couple hours carved out and I've got 5 appointments with people, okay? That's how dedicated I am, right? It's going to take longer hours, yes, but keep in mind, you got to have that goal in place. So the biggest thing is, guys, you have to find people to talk to. In business, the more people who you know, it's a numbers game. They're going to do business. Whether you have a skill set or not, you got to find that opportunity out there. At some point, you're going to walk into someone who has a need either now or in the nearest future. And by the way, as your skill set begins to sharpen, which we'll talk about skill set in a second, as your skill set begins to sharpen, you're talking to more people, you're naturally going to come across more opportunities. For example, this time of the year, and I'm going to make a short on this, why door knocking in March is very effective. I'm running into people every single day that are giving me short-term opportunities. Like, I'm not even joking you. The majority of times I go door knocking, I'm going to have a deal in the next 2 to 3 months because I'm finding people who are ready to go, more or less because it's the time of the year. But I also have a strong skill set where I can get people to feel very approachable and they feel comfortable. Like, I have a natural ability, if you guys watch my door knocking videos, where it's just a skill set, right? I've just gotten so good at it that people open their door and they feel like they've just known me for years. That's something you got to gain over time. But again, this all comes down to finding opportunities yourself, and that comes down to getting out there and talking to 40 plus people a day. The more people you talk to, you're going to, by default, find more listings, more buys, more deals. Okay, so number 2, you just have to make sure everyone in the city knows who you are. You have to become the local celebrity, okay? Number 3 is going to be sharpening your skill set, okay? So to give you guys an example, if you guys have seen my scripting videos before, or I did a video on scripting before, for me, the most important contributing factor I would say to my early on success is because I started doing scripts and role play, like early on. So to give you an example, I think it was 3 months before, 3 or 4 months, I just went without having a job. Like, I quit my job in between doing schooling, because the schooling in Ontario can take a while for real estate. While I was doing the schooling, it was 5 months. So, but during doing the schooling, as well as I was doing it for about 3 hours a day, the schooling, and then I would go 3 hours scripting minimum. I would 3 hours script, because I knew the second I would hit on someone's door or I go to do a listing appointment, I wanted people to know that I was good at my craft, that they weren't expecting that I was a newer agent. To give you an example, it's not about how long you've been doing it; it's how well you deliver. Right? No one's gonna smell that you're new, or get a feeling that you're new if you're really confident and well versed. Yes, confidence comes with the ability to have some experience, because keep in mind, when you're newer, if you haven't signed a listing agreement or you haven't gone through the ropes, you're kind of on your own for a bit, right? You're going to need a lot of help, and it's going to be really hesitant to like sign a listing agreement, stuff like that, because there's legal things aspects that go in. But as you start working more, you're going to know how to evaluate properties more. Or for example, if you're in some sort of other sales, whatever service you're delivering, you're going to know more about it, because there's people service and there's product service, right? When it comes to actually doing sales. Your people service is like the 80%. The 20% is the product, right? You got to know what you're working, and having that knowledge is going to get you more referral base and stuff like that. But the biggest part, knowing what to say, is really going to help you with conversion. This is why right from the get-go I was getting all these deals, right? And especially here in Canada, where I don't have an immediate lead source, people are pretty surprised because I was doing the amount of deals I was on a early on basis, right? My first full calendar year, I closed out 20 deals exactly for 10 million, right? That was my first calendar year, right? So number 3, guys, is just going to be master your craft, sharpen your skill set, and always set time aside to make sure that you're really going to do well with whatever it is you're doing. Okay. Finally, number 4, I'll kind of just make this one out. Just really have if you want to do really well, again, just know at the end of the day, I guess I can kind of summarize it in all points here because I'm already about 10 minutes in. The number one thing, if you want to know how to do good, is just look at it as a numbers game. Okay, look at it as a numbers game. You have to find as many opportunities as you can, get in front of it, get in front of as many people as you can, and just simply open yourself up to opportunities. Right? You're gonna stumble, like you're gonna fail, right? And I guess that goes to point number 4. You are gonna fail. You're gonna come across things where, hey, maybe you just had a listing appointment that you thought was I'll give you an example. My first listing appointment, I thought it was a listing appointment. I went on the appointment. The guy, I think, had like a little bit of dementia, to be honest. I brought my coach with me at the time. Went right into the script, right? I wasn't reading the room. I just went right into the script, and it felt so out of whack. He had like no idea what I was talking about. And I was like, oh. So keep in mind, that was my first listing appointment, right? Over time, it's going to get better, but you have to get yourself in front of these situations. So yes, from my last point, you have to get yourself in front of as many people as possible. But the other contributing factor is you're going to have to fail doing that. Just know you're going to fail. There's going to be people who are going to be like, you're going to have people that are telling you no, stuff like that. It's the name of the game. Just know that the failure is going to create results in the end. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Again, if you want me to simply boil this whole video down, literally just pick a lead source, stick to it. You got to have pillars, like a lead source pillar, stuff like that. But for me, I've really just been on door knocking. Then over time, my social media has gained me more exposure where most of the city now knows me because they see my videos everywhere on my Instagram, right? I get a lot of views on my Instagram videos. But again, that's over time. But my primary source of business is door knocking. It's starting to go more towards working my database, but it's still door knocking. And and it worked for me because I had the trust in doing that one lead source, and I stayed consistent to it. So guys, stick to it, consistency, practice, and you're gonna have failure on the way, but know that's gonna generate wins in the end. Okay, hope that one helps. We'll see you guys in the next one. It's gonna be a pretty good video. I have some stuff in the works, but for now, peace.